Hello everybody, how is it going? I am Lucas and today we're going to be checking out Bassforge Hellraiser from Joey Sturgis Tones. Currently have it loaded up on a track called Lover Man, which is from my EP called Spice. I'm going to let you hear it in the mix, let you hear it out of the mix, then I'll go in and break down exactly what I did. Alright, so let's check it out. Alright, so that was a little taste of Hellraiser. Now let's go in and break down exactly what I did, and let's check out some of the parts of the actual plugin itself. So the very first little block you have down here, this is going to be the Demon Fuzz pedal. I didn't use this in when I went through and made my tone, but if you want some buzzsaw like tone, this thing is great for it. Watch, let me fire it up for you. Let me hear what it sounds like. Gives you a real good grindy, fuzzy type of tone. It has three little modes on it. It has bass boost, it has normal, then it has dry. Bass boost gives you a little bit of bass boost, a little bit more thicker low end. You have normal, which is just a normal Demon Fuzz by itself. And then you have dry, which it takes the distortion from here and it mixes it in with the dry signal. You have your volume, you have your tone, you have your sustain going on right there. Watch, let me play it again. So as you can see, you can do plenty of cool stuff with the Demon Fuzz all baked in right there. So the next block we have up is going to be the amp interface. And on the amp interface, you can do tons of stuff here. You have your gate at the top, you have your in, you have your out, you also have your tuner over here, which is a little spooky Ouija board. I love it. I love it when plugins have tuners, and it makes your life so much easier. You can access these from pretty much any of the little from any screen that you're at whenever you're working on it. You have your in meter, you have your out meter. Make sure you don't have these clipping too hard, because if you have them clipping too hard on the red, it's not going to sound exactly that great. The amp block is pretty much self-explanatory. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. Also, if you double click, oh, I lied. I thought you could turn it. Oh, you can. I'm sorry. So if you double click it right here, you can turn it on and off. Oh, neat little thing. And you can turn it on, you can turn it off right here. You got your bass, you got your middle, got your treble, and then the clank. The clank knob is kind of what the whole plugin is kind of set up around, because if you're used to listening to a lot of harder metal genres, clank is that nice, good, grindy. Whenever you're slapping the strings, that's what it's trying to mimic. I'll bless with the knob and let you hear what I'm talking about. Clank knob is fantastic. I love it. Now, on the side of it, you have two little knobs, which are very, very cool. You have the Raise Hell knob right here. What this does is it makes the circuit a lot more aggressive. Let me let you hear what that sounds like. And as you heard, I put the enhanced sub knob right here. That gives you, it pushes the bass a little bit even more up. Gives you a lot thicker low end. The low end harmonics is what it kind of boosts a little bit. This is going to help your bass be heard more on like smaller speakers, like laptop speakers or a phone speaker per se. if you're mixing more towards that, that's kind of what you would want to do. I didn't use it when I was making my tone, but you can make it. You can, and it's a great button to have. Moving on now in the signal path, we have the cab section. So you have plenty of options when it comes in here. You can use the JST matched cab. You can use the JST Big Boy 215, or you can use the MPEG 810. You do have 4 microphones per, well, in these two right here, you have 4 microphones that you can choose from. You have plenty of tonal options, and even if you want, if you click right here too, you can even load in your own impulse response, which I did. You can do that. Let me jog through these, let you hear what they sound like. So as you can see, you got plenty of options. They all sound pretty great. I put my own impulse response in right here. All you have to do is you click this little load, this little L right here, and it'll let you load it up. A cool little thing I discovered, which I did not know, is if you click these little arrows right here, you can cycle through some of the different IRs that you have in the folder that you're loaded from. Super helpful when you're trying to figure out which sound you want to get. That's super nice. I didn't even know about that, and I love it. It's a cool feature. It's small, but it's awesome. Moving on, next you have the Parametric EQ. It works just like any normal Parametric EQ. You can do your low or high pass right here. You can use shelf on either side. I left it with the high and low pass on each side. Got your gain knob, you have your Q, you have your frequency. I scooped out a little bit of 2100 here. That's really all that I ended up doing, but of course you can mess around and go crazy. I love that you have an EQ right here, and you don't have to grab another EQ from your DAW, load it up. Moving on. Now this in the limiter / multi-band EQ section, I love this section a lot because it's really nice in the fact that what you can do with this is, the first thing you have to look at is your crossover knob. So this goes from 30 all the way up to 800 hertz, and what you can do with this is, if you imagine the frequency spectrum that you have, right? So in that frequency spectrum, the crossover is in between your lows and your highs. So as you move that crossover back and forth, you're kind of cutting off where when you boost the lows and you boost the highs, kind of what it catches. And what you can do is you can actually mute each block, or you can solo each block if you want to hear it, and you can choose if you want to compress it or if you want to go ahead and you want to limit it. It's super awesome because you can control, you're splitting your bass from highs and lows in effect, and when you do that, it gives you total control over the whole thing. So if you want to boost just a specific area of low end, you can. If you want to get a specific area of scratchiness or high end per se, you can do that too. Let me mess with this real quick and you'll better understand what I'm talking about once I mess with it. And also too, you do have the peak reduction. This is really helpful because sometimes when you're playing bass, the peaks on your trainings will go really high. If you jack this up, it kind of helps to level it out a little bit, so that way you don't have peaks jumping off everywhere. It keeps everything a little bit even. Let me just mess with it and you'll get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. And as you saw, you can also take the crossover button off. I like to leave that on whenever I'm messing with it. I love this a lot. It's so powerful. It's so cool. It helps you from most of the time when people are mixing extreme metal or metalcore, they'll split their bass up and they'll do exactly this. They'll have the high end, they'll have the low end, and they kind of form it to how they want to get it. But with this, you have it right here all in the plugin. Makes things super easy and super awesome. You can also, if you want to compress, like I was saying before, you can compress it if you want to keep it down, or you can hard limit it so it doesn't pop up on you. Now, another little neat thing is if you click the signal path button right here, you can come into each section and you can turn it on and off. If you see, you can turn it on and off. You can turn the cab off if you want. If you want to use another IR loader, if you want. I don't really feel why you'd want to, you know, you don't really need to, but you can if you want. If you want to just use the IRs from here, you can too. It doesn't let you turn off the amp. That's the only thing you can't turn off. You can literally turn off everything else, but you cannot turn off the amp. It'll disappear down here, as you can see. So, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up for Bassforge Hellraiser from JST. I like this plugin a lot. It replaces a lot of the stuff that I normally would use. Whenever I'm getting my bass tone, it's all baked into one little plugin right here, and I think it sounds fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for Bassforge Hellraiser from JST. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, let me know in the comments down below. As for me, I'm going to have to be out. Peace.